Okay. Thank you, Arvin, for that reminder. I'll give you a minute shortly to also introduce yourself. So I was saying that our focus as a Kenyan chapter during this challenge was in the open standards everywhere. There are a number of themes to pick up on, but we went for this one because we felt that a lot of us are online and some of us are even supporting websites within our organizations. And just to run this test, and the poll came up with a reporting methodology where we do baseline for the websites that we have, and then work on them, improve them, take them to 100% security, and then again run the test, and you get the results showing as such. I felt this was like a self-test, and in consultation with the rest of the executive, we supported this project, and we want to express our appreciation to Paul Kilongi, who is here with us, and will be doing a big part of the first hour. But for all of us also, it is an opportunity to see the reports. We have a couple of reports. I will bring up a few just for us to see how it looks like. And I think Paul also has some to show us, and then take us through the process of enhancing these security features. So with that brief, I would like to welcome all the members who have just joined us, but I'll give a singular opportunity to our chapter mobilization officer, who is the head of membership and outreach, Arvin, in 30 seconds, just to say his name and also greet the meeting. Welcome, Arvin.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone who's managed to join us. My name is Lumumba, and I'll be, just an appendage to this. Thank you so much for finding time, and also we hope that you get maximum use from this session. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So before I welcome Paul to take us through, I will recognize we have the Senegal chapter with us here. They are represented and they've already introduced themselves. We were expecting someone from Tanzania. I don't know whether we have, okay, and Uganda. But if they show up, Mr. Lumumba, you help me monitor this so that we can acknowledge their presence. So Paul, I think the floor is yours. You can share your screen and take us through, Mr. Kilongi.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning. My name is Paul Kilongi. I'm a member of ISOC Kenya chapter. I am a web administrator, and I've been requested to take you through securing web servers using the open standards everywhere document. So this is we will narrow down to open standards everywhere document for securing web servers. Okay, this is how I intend to do my presentation. For this slide, I will do an overview of what the open standards are, and then we'll go to the actual document, the website. They take you step by step, and then I will go through what I did to achieve the 100% compliance. The Internet Society aims for the internet to be open, globally connected, secure, and trustworthy. They see collaboration with all who share these goals. In this regard, ISOC supports the Internet Engineering Task Force, which is the leading internet standards body. The IETF has developed open standards for the internet, which are the cornerstone of the internet. So ISOC has adopted those standards developed by IETF and came up with the open standards everywhere documentation. This is the URL, and I've also shared it in the chat. The open standard everywhere has been tested on the following web servers. You have the Nginx, you have Apache, and you have Nginx or Apache with a content delivery network. As you can notice, these two are also open source software. The open standards everywhere compliance is tested using the following tools. One is the internet.nl, and two, HTTP2 Pro. A website must achieve 100% on both tests. The internet.nl tests the following parameters. Number one, IP version 6, which is for modern addresses. Okay, as of August 23rd this year, according to the Google survey, 32.73% of users that access Google services use it over an IP version 6 network. So this is a big deal. 32% of people are on IP version 6. So you should strive for your web server to accommodate both the default, which is IP version 4, and IP version 6. Then you have the DNSSEC. DNSSEC was developed to prevent cache poisoning. What is cache poisoning? Cache poisoning is the act of entering false information into a DNS cache so that the DNS queries return an incorrect response and users are redirected to the wrong website. Then someone can be redirected if you don't have this application. And then there is the HTTPS secure website. For secure website connection, this is a digital certificate, which is mandatory on all modern browsers. And then we have the website security options, such as security headers. This also give instructions to browsers on how they should behave once somebody accesses your website. As for the start TLS and then DMARC and RPKI, these are beyond the scope of our webinar because they focus on mail servers and we are on web servers, but still they are tested on internet.nl. HTTP2 Pro tests whether our website is HTTP2 compliant. Okay, HTTP2 increases security for users and application, but it also requires fewer TLS handshakes and leads to lower consumption of resources on both the client and the server side. It requires HTTPS to function. That is the end of my brief introduction. Now I'll go to the OSC documentation itself. Now we are at github.com/internet society/OSC documentation. I've sent this link on the chat. This is a project of ISOC, and it is led by Daniok. You can just look at the updates. From 2 years ago, it has been updated slowly up to 4 months ago. GitHub is just a repository for code where it allows open source software to be developed by people from all over the world. It allows collaboration, and it can be public or private. So for us, we will focus on this document, which was done 4 months ago, I believe in April. And these are the instructions. We'll go through them. The ISOC has developed 4 dummy websites using the 2 web servers I mentioned. There is Apache. This has been tested on an Apache web server. This has been tested on Nginx. And this one has been tested on Apache behind a content delivery network. Okay, what a content delivery network is simply a distributed network which copies your web files and distributes them, caches them all over the world. For example, if you are in Kenya, you have a website in Kenya, and somebody is in the US, and he wants to access your website, and as DN network, it will be faster because they have servers in the US, they have servers in Africa and all over. So a copy will be in the cache, and the person in the US will be able to access that website much faster. So here is the documentation. You have how to install Apache, how to install Nginx, which will not go through that. So for this one, for the first one, it's IP version 6. If you want to get the instructions of how to configure, if you're on an Apache server or an Nginx, you just click the link. Like for example, this is the instructions to configure IP version 6 on Apache. Just follow the instructions as they are. Also, there's this one for Nginx. These are the instructions. Just follow them as they are. The assumption is you are a web administrator, so you'll know what to do when you come here. But there's so much documentation and resources which you can scroll and read for much more instructions. Okay, now this one we have, this is the DNSSEC. DNSSEC stands for the DNS Security Extensions. What this basically does is that when a person is logging to your website, they have to be sure they're coming to your website where they're going and they'll not be redirected. For example, if your website is if you're going to a banking website, like in Kenya, for example, you're logging to Kenya Commercial Bank. How sure are you that you are going to, it is that bank website you're there? How sure are you you're not being redirected? So when you have DNSSEC, what it does is that it strengthens authentication in DNS using digital signature based on cryptography. It signs the data itself by the data. DNS signs the data itself by owner of the data. So it's a very powerful tool. Let me see how I can demonstrate its use. Maybe I need some help. I want to minimize. I want to minimize this screen. I want to access the tab.
You mean a separate tab from this screen, or?
I want to minimize the zoom.
Oh yeah.
Zoom tab.
Yeah, you can definitely just minimize it from the web browser. Yeah.
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 No.
So that's going to probably show us your full screen, depending on what you shared when you're accessing the sharing button.
Can you make Lumumba the co-host, please? so that it can help you with the host.
Well, you can stop sharing, move what you want to move, and then maybe share again. If that is easier. Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to test the ecitizen.go.ke because this is one of the main websites used in Kenya to access government services. As you can see, it does not have DNSSEC. So, and you remember when you register for eCitizen, you put your personal data there. You put your phone number, your ID number, or anything. You can imagine if somebody can redirect such a website, and then it puts a fake website which looks like eCitizen. You go and you feed all your personal data. So you can be vulnerable to issues like identity theft. This is what I wanted to demonstrate. Turn to the document. Okay. After I've shown you the necessary, you need also to upgrade TLS 1.3. Okay, this one they are using they have demonstrated using Let's Encrypt, which is an open source certificate. But you can also use other types of commercial certificates such as DigiCert or whatever, so long as you upgrade the TLS to version 1.3. These are the instructions. And here are the resources again, which you are not very clear on what to do. Then it has instructions on how to disable TLS 1.0 and 1.1. You know, the importance of this is the highest form of encryption as of now. So you try your level best for this to configure to 1.3. Nothing less than that. You have HSTS. This is very important also. The importance of this HSTS is that it forces any web browser that is trying to log into your web server to use HTTPS. HTTPS is an encrypted form of HTTP. Let me give you an example of a website. It's called Bingwa Safaris. This Bingwa Safaris, it is based in Meru. It is for tours. On one end, I can access it using HTTPS through this padlock sign. Then again, I can still access it through HTTP. You see, someone can access it using HTTP and HTTPS, which is very wrong. Let me show you why. In this website, they have a place for booking. Somebody wants to book the hotel, has to put their personal details, their name, whatever. Yeah. But here, when you are at HTTP without the security of HTTPS, the danger you can run into is that somebody who's a hacker can easily see everything, because HTTP runs on plain text. It is very readable. Anybody can read. Unlike HTTPS, which is encrypted. So there is no way of forcing someone who just types HTTP to be redirected to HTTPS. That is where HSTS comes in. It forces you to do just that. And the cipher orders. These are also very important. Set the cipher order so that the correct order of TLS 1.2 and 1.3 protocols. These are the instructions. I won't go into much into the small details, but you will see. You will see from the documentation how to configure those. In a nutshell, the OSC documentation provides you everything you need to configure your web server to meet the 100% test, internet.nl and HTTP2.pro. Interesting thing you'll note here, I told you these are the dummy web servers which have been used to test for their compliance. When you read here, it says all of these servers are being configured to achieve 100% on the internet.nl website test suite and to pass HTTP2.pro test. Two of the servers are up as regular web servers running in virtual machines. Two of the servers are set up behind a content delivery network. As of April 15, 2021 update, the two non-CDN sites are 100% on the tests. The two CDN sites are at 94%, while getting some changes made to the TLS configured and settings in the CDN. All four servers support HTTP2. This is the interesting bit. You see this one? I told you these are dummy websites for just testing purposes. This was tested on an Apache web server. This one clocks 100% on HTTP2 Pro and internet.nl. You can try and test it. The Nginx web server also does the same. But when you try to test these, which are behind a content delivery network, the Apache CDN and Nginx or CDN, those are not reaching 100%. I will come to this later. I will demonstrate something later. Also, another very important aspect which I forgot to mention, when you are here at the OSC documentation, the assumption is that you have full administrative rights. That you are actually, you can configure, you have full control of the web server. It is not for shared hosting. For our admin who has complete control. but I will come to show you what to do next, because I achieved 100% on a shared hosting, which I will share with you the process later. Also, before I forget, this is also important, the HTTP2, the 2 version 2. I think for this, to achieve this is very easy. What you have to make sure is that your web server is up to date. Just updating it will make you conform to this standard. And then this one are the interesting ones, the HTTP security headers. They are very powerful because they define how your website will work. SSL stapling needs to be attached outside the secure virtual host block right before each module. This is for Apache. Okay, as you noticed, I'm focusing on Apache. It's because I'm hosting my website on Apache, and it is the one which I did this experiment on. But still, if you are on Nginx, there is ample documentation in this website. So these are the headers, which I will show you on my end what I did. Supposed to put them in front of before the if module. But you have to be very careful with these headers. You are advised to put, okay, read here, this header should be added in the virtual host section building. If you have already configured your Apache or HSTS, then all other required steps have been done following the inclusion of the headers. Okay, here, this is what I was looking for. We recommend that you do these security headers one at a time and test them in a non-production environment to ensure that there are no negative impact to your site. As I told you, these are very powerful directives. They can break your website. So if you put them, you put one by one. And I will try to show you on my end how I did it and the challenges I faced. So I believe that is all on the OSC document, but I really encourage any system administrator, web administrator, to go through this document slowly. It is very detailed, very many links. Whatever you are looking for, it is there. So now let me go to the final bit, to my website, what I actually did.
We can't get you, Paul, please.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me?
Now, better. It's better now.
Okay. Okay, this is my test website. It's called Ati Community Network. Ati Community Network is a community network based in rural Eastern Kenya, a place called Meru. We strive to bridge the digital divide in the rural area. But what you will appreciate is we are on shared hosting. We are on shared hosting. So for this to work, I had to use a content delivery network. And for this, I went to see Cloudflare CDN. This is the dashboard. What I did, my hosting company, TrueHost Cloud, told me they are unable to assist me, but they advised I try on Cloudflare. And I found on Cloudflare, most of the items are automated, and it's very easy. It makes it very easy for someone to work on it. So here is where you start. You'll only use very few tabs on Cloudflare. The DNS tab, you start with the DNS tab, shows all the records. I cannot go through, but this is where our point of interest, our starting point. This is DNSSEC. DNSSEC, they say it protects against forged DNS answers, what I recommended. Then it tells you success, Earth Community Network is protected with DNSSEC. What you simply do here, when you're configuring for DNSSEC, they give you something called a DS record. This is the DS record. The DS record for Earth Community Network. It contains these keys. You have a digest, you have digest type 2, DS record, you have algorithm, public key, key tag, and flags. What you do, you copy all these values, you copy all of them, and then you send them to your hosting company so that they have a complete record of what you have here. You also have it on their end. Okay, ideally, it should be on the registrar's end. So this is crucial. So if you are on shared hosting, you have to have cooperation of your web hosts. Because as I had said, the goal of DNSSEC is to reduce cache poisoning. And cache poisoning is the act of entering false information into a DNS cache so that DNS queries return an incorrect response and users are directed to the wrong websites. In short, if anything, most websites should be configured with DNSSEC. It is not 100% foolproof, but at least when somebody has logged on into your website, they know it is your website, which they are actually logging into. As I gave you an example of eCitizen, imagine you have registered your details, you have put your phone numbers, everything, and you're redirected to a dummy website. Because as we saw, eCitizen does not have, it's not configured with the DNSSEC. Here, another point I forgot to mention, this Cloudflare has many packages, but I'm on the free package, which offers all these things. Okay, I'm not endorsing them, but it worked for me. That's what I can say. From there, we join the SSL TLS tab. Okay, here, I went to the Edge certificates. This is where I'll do most of the configurations. You see here, the first, this tab, it directs all requests with scheme HTTP to HTTPS. This applies to HTTP requests to the zone. You see, it works like HTTP strict transport security. This is it's mandatory. You do this. Minimum TLS version. As we saw in the previous document, TLS we have version 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. OSC documentation has phased out. They don't recommend 1.1. The recommended at minimum is 1.2, but the most preferred is 1.3. So you see, by the touch of a button, I just upgrade it to 1.3. This, don't confuse, this is the minimum version, so it can't go beyond that. Here, enable the latest version of TLS protocol to improve security. So these are just the same, but it cannot go below 1.3. Here, also enabled automatic HTTPS rewrites. Automatic rewrites help fix mixed content by changing HTTP to HTTPS for all resources or links on your website that can be served with HTTPS. So this is a very important element also for our website developer, especially those people who are using things like WordPress and using external libraries like a page builder called Elementor. Sometimes what happens, since you are getting images and stuff from an external server, sometimes that server is referencing non-HTTPS resources, okay, like images, like JavaScript. So while you have done all these, you have put TLS 1.3, you have enabled HSTS and all that, but still when you go to test Internet and NL, truly you are not sufficiently covered. That is because the external library is referencing those things. So this option is also very useful. Okay, that's it. The only bonus thing I can add, the rules. These are optional, but I found them very useful because once I was on Cloudflare, I could not edit my website because I'm using Elementor. So they allow you to, so this rule, I'm just telling Cloudflare to allow access to Elementor and also to allow access to my domain at the community network. Because at times there were issues, and I will tell you what's the source of the issues in another part. But also to mention on the free plan, you are only allowed a maximum of 3 rules. I cannot go beyond this. And also another issue, when you are on Cloudflare CDN, the Cloudflare DNS name servers are now on my hosting company. Like I use TrueHost Cloud. So TrueHost Cloud, the numbers are supposed to be pointing to Cloudflare. So the challenge can be when you're trying to create a subdomain in my cPanel, it won't show anything on my browser until I add it as an A record here on Cloudflare. So when you use a CDN, those are some of the things you have to weigh. Okay, there's an extra layer of abstraction, but it's not very complicated. Okay, let me come to this other part. This is the one I told you is very important. The headers, the security headers, as I had mentioned. These are very important. Here, this one is the HTTP set strict transport security marks. This is the what we call the HTST, the one I was telling you. Show you. This one, this point, HST. I have a valid policy. What this one does is what I had mentioned earlier. When you try to come to my website, Ethical Community Network, and you use HTTP in your address instead of HTTPS, this one will force you to go to HTTPS, which is secured. And then this max age is that this is supposed to stay for 1 year, this rule. And also on another point, if you disable your SSL certificate, and this is on, you can be sure people who come to your website won't be able to access it. So this one goes with HTTPS. Now these ones are the tricky ones. These as they are right now, these headers and whatever, I cannot access access Elementor, which is the page builder I'm using on my website. I cannot do edits until I have disabled all of them. Because they give your web server strict instructions. So if you're having an external library, it can run into challenges. So that's why the documentation tells you when you put these security headers, you place them one by one, and you see the effect on your website. As I'm finishing, before I forget, if you are on Elementor, a useful plugin is called Really Simple SSL. This plugin will also help you with the mixed content issues. As I told you, sometimes you are accessing an external library. You are accessing references to resources that are pointing to HTTP resources, such as maybe some images which are referenced with HTTP, JavaScript, etc. So if you use this plugin on WordPress, it can also help you to clear those things on top of what we have here on Cloudflare. They complement each other very well. Yeah. This works the same. It complements that simple SSL we have shown you. So finally, after done all that, you can see I achieved 100%. Then on HTTP2 Pro, you can test it. As I told you, this test is very easy. What you just need to do is to make sure your web server is updated to the latest version. This is enough to take you here, because even as of now, we are at HTTP 3. And I think I forgot to mention, on Cloudflare, it has IP version 6 by default. You don't need to configure it. It is there by default. So like for me, here, you can click anything, and then it tells you what you need to improve and all such. So like for me, my website is accessible to people using IP version 6. And as I told you in the Google statistics, 32% of users use IP version 6. The default is IP version 4. So for me, I have the advantage of people can access my website at IP version 6 and IP version 4. These are the, when your website is not reaching the required standard, they tell you what to do. You just click and they show you what to do. There's a test explanation. This is what you need to do, and you change and all that. See, same website on IP version 6 and IP version 4. This is the DNSSEC. It tells me your domain is DNSSEC signed. As I told you, when somebody comes to artcommunitynetwork.org, they are sure they are going to artcommunitynetwork.org, not a dummy website where they're being redirected to. So this one is very important. Now, HTTPS, I'm fully secured by HTTPS. One, I have a valid certificate. Two, HSTS is enabled. As I told you, this one forces a browser to go to HTTPS. The 3 TLS version, you remember I did a minimum of 1.3. So you see, the browser, look here, note the browser makers have announced that they will stop supporting TLS 1.1 and 1.0. This will cause websites that do not support 1.2 or 1.3 to be unreachable. So this is consistent with what we saw in the OSE documentation. TLS 1.1 and 1.0 will be phased out. So me, I'm on the safe side. I'm on 1.3, which is the maximum. And I have set it to my minimum TLS. Because this is the classification. 1.3 is good, 1.3 is sufficient, pace out is sufficient. So I am here, mine is at here. Then when you are on Cloudflare, some of these cipher orders, algorithms, whatever, they'll do for you on default. The security options. These are the security options. These ones I was showing. So we have done all that, but this one has a warning, but it will not stop your website from functioning. So in a nutshell, when you are at internet.nl, you can be going through it for latest changes. There's a lot of news, what the updates, what they are doing, what is new. Shall be going through it slowly. And then here about the test itself, they show you their partners, who they are partnering with. You can see the Internet Society International, then the Internet Society, the Netherlands chapter. The NL stands for Netherlands. It's their country domain. And then here this is what is called Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame, they give you a badge if you are a web browser, which is 100%, and also you are a mail server. But as what we are doing, we have just been focusing on the web server. That is the core of the OSC, not the mail servers. So here you're at 100%, but here not really, because the document is focusing on web servers. And these are some of the domains which have achieved 100% on web servers and on mail servers. Okay, so I believe in a nutshell, that is what I did. I hope it was clear, unless there are any questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Kilongi. If you are able to see the reactions, let's give him a clap. All of us were able to see the, thank you, Adam. Thank you, Athena. Thank you, Brian. If you go to reactions at the bottom, thank you, Calvin. Thank you very much. I think that was thank you, Winnie. So if you're not speaking, kindly keep your mic on mute. I know there was a comment by our colleague, senior Mr. Benson. Muite had raised something, I think, about the versions. I don't know whether Muite, you can say something before we just open for a round of maybe 2 questions. If you can hear me. Benson? Okay, okay. I hear you. I see your message. You say you are just curious if people on old phones have trouble accessing that page. Okay, and so probably Paul, you'd want to comment on that. And as you do, another question for you. You know, some of our invitees today are using one server host multiple sites, and some of these sites might be commercial. Would these settings apply to the server in totality, or you have to repeat this for each of the websites that you are hosting? If you have maybe 3 sites you are supporting as a web admin, do you have to do this for each of the sites individually? Kindly. I hope you heard me, Paul.
Yes.
Thank
Yes. For the last question, yes, you have to set for each individual website. Like myself, I am hosting like 10 or more different websites. And so far I've done for 4 of them. It's specific, each website. So the good thing is that on Cloudflare, if you have to use Cloudflare, as I mentioned, it has a free plan. So you can do it relatively easily. You just watch out for the bottlenecks I mentioned earlier. Because you are where you are hosting your websites, you have put the Cloudflare name servers, you have configured them in your website. So they are pointing to Cloudflare. So in actual fact, it's like it's Cloudflare which is working. So what you do is you configure each domain separately. I think that's the short of it. And the one who was asking if they can access the website on an old phone. Yes, they can. Don't see any reason why not.
Great.
The issue was the web servers being accessed, not the browser. If the web server is not compliant with IP version 6 and IP version 4, there are some users who cannot access it. But if you are using a phone, there's no issue. You can continue using it.
Okay. So thank you for those responses. Let me just open the floor. Okay, before I open the floor, Paul, some of our colleagues joined a bit late. So I'd just like you to share your first 3 slides. You gave an outline. I think the first slide had an outline and also the tools. Just for the sake of our colleagues who came in late, that should take us about 2 minutes, if you don't mind. The very, very original presentation. I think the first 3 slides. Paul? I think the next one. Yes, this and the next 2. Yeah. Where you have the tools. I wouldn't want you to speak about them again. Yeah, you can just run them through, and the tool, the next one for the tools, and then we open the field for a few questions. All right, and the next one. Okay, and the one with the tools. I think where you have the excellent. So I think if we go to this site, we'll be able to get the gist of today's session and whatever Paul has taken us through. So also maybe on the chat, if you are kind enough, Paul, you can share with us your email, because some colleagues might have some questions or would like to generally connect with you later. Education is not easy. We have to learn and also ask the teacher later. Would you like to share your email? And then probably you stop sharing so that I can also share some of the reports you had given to me earlier. Okay. So while you are posting your email on the chat, I will also give a few, just project a few examples. Yeah, of the ones that Paul had helped us run, and also Arvin. I also ran some of them. There are several, we had about 10 sites to start with. Well, of course, we've not requested permission to run this test from the owners of those websites, but for learning purposes, we are not changing anything, just testing for compliance. And I think Paul has taken us through this. We know there are two tests. You can run this and the other one for internet.nl. And you can see the results for some of our big players like Safaricom. This is our major service provider in Kenya. I think is also going into Ethiopia and operating under different entities, under different corporates in the other countries like Tanzania and South Africa. They are doing well. 66 is not bad, but you can see there is work to be done, especially around IPv6, which Paul has just illustrated to us. So they are, of course, supported for HTTP2 Pro. They're supported. For ADI, this one we saw, I think, from Paul's presentation. The other player we have is our regulator, the CA. I've tried to share with them this report and also invite them to attend the session. I think maybe because of competing tasks, they are not able to join, but you can see the results. The other one was 66, this one is 60.
The is trying to take out. They must be coming after you. And
kindly mute. Okay, thank you. The co-host can help me mute and also allow those who are maybe on the waiting room. Okay, so that is for Communications Authority. You can see. So you're not alone. You know, these guys are doing 68% and they are the regulator. I know I got a call back, but we have not been able to connect. So we also need to help our regulator achieve, 100%. That will be a success for us as an internet society, Kenya chapter and beyond. For those who are logging in from other countries, you can also run this test for your own regulators and for the ministry. This is our ministry of ICT, and you see that their score is 29%. Yeah, this is ict.go.ke. This is a local domain and most probably hosted locally. Work can be done to take this to maybe 100%. And this is where we need to come in as professionals. I mean, we are doing this advocacy and we have a host of web admins in the country and even beyond who can be able to support these processes. And we would like this to happen because then we reduce vulnerability online. Now, charity begins at home. Unfortunately, it hasn't. We are in communication with our former SG on the issues of access to this domain, the isoc.or.ke. We are scoring very poorly. 29% is no good, and we know this will change. We hope that we'll be able to improve this to at least 70% before the end of this challenge. That is next week, so that we're able to also preach water and drink water, or preach wine and drink wine. I'll stop sharing for now, so that we can open the session for any questions that might be there. And then, yeah. Okay, I know there's a suggestion we also do for our frailty. We need the full. Okay, we'll find it. Okay, we'll find it. And any other proposals. The only thing is that we won't be able to do it now online. We are 1 hour down the line, and we would like any question, clarification from the participants. Thanks, Athena, for that. We shall definitely run that test. I will invite Arvin Lumumba, if you're in the house. Kindly assist me in the next 10 minutes, just question and answer. Okay,
Yes, Joel, I'm here.
Yes, please. The question and answer, kindly chair that session and then hand back so that we close. We don't want to go beyond 90 minutes. We need to finish by past. Thank you.
Sure thing. So members, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand or you can probably just throw it in the chat. We'll be happy to check it out. I think this was addressed, the question by Benson, though he has sent a follow-up comment regarding some complaints. This should be around Android and TLS versions. So maybe that's food for let me say deeper checking, because definitely it's a learning curve for all of us. So definitely we are going to take that as feedback. Think, Paul, you've noted that as well. Thank you, Adam. Yeah, sure. We were happy to have you as well. I'm sure I've seen also there's a question regarding the recordings being shared. Joel, please just confirm that the recording will be shared. I can see Mr. Calvin has asked for the recording to be shared. Perfect, I've seen that. Okay, it seems everyone is well satisfied. I think, yeah, so Calvin, the recording will be shared to the participants, so you are in good and safe hands. I think given the fact that we don't seem to be having any questions seemingly, I'll just invite a few people to, say hi. I was expecting, I see Mr. VP is here. Alphonse, do you want to, I know you came in a little late, but you can just register your regards, even as we come to the very final minutes of this presentation or session. And then also I'll of course invite Joel if you have our future plans that you want us to share with the participants, because this is definitely an ongoing engagement that we don't think one session is fitting, or I mean, it's definitely something that we need to keep checking and keep advocating for. So I'll give you the floor right after in a few. Alphonse, Bwana VP.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Mr. Lumumba and the ISOC team, plus all members who managed to attend this wonderful workshop. Apologies, I joined late. I had some issues with connectivity, but I've seen what Paul has done is a very good work. And to me, I feel like it is something that is going to change the dynamics around the security on web servers and hosting, mostly in Kenya. So I just urge that we put this serious and keep on practicing. I know some of us here are system admins and we come from different organizations. So let us take all this information back to our organizations and we see if we can have a different dynamics or perspective of security within our systems. Maybe just to just say welcome, though I joined late, but personally, I think Mr. Howie, SG, Joel, and the team, they have really done a good job. And thank you for the hard work, including Lumumba. Thank you very much. Back to you, Lumumba.
Thank you, Bwana VP. Thank you also for the emphasis you've made on the fact that security is important, especially now that largely everything is going online, and we need to ensure that our digital selves are well secure on these digital streets. So thank you for that, and also thank you for the support you give the society, together with the president. That being said, I want to give a wild card to perhaps one person. I'll just call out random, any one person who wants to perhaps give us feedback on your experience so far in the session, and I think I will call upon Christian. I know you've been here the whole time. Do you mind if I call upon you to just share what your feedback could be on the session that we've had? Christian Geman. I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. So Christian, if you don't mind. All right. Could be we've lost Christian. Nonetheless, I think I'll call upon Komla, if you don't mind. I think you've also been here long enough. I'd like to hear your opinions, or rather your feedback. Komla Adam.
Adam has left. I think he wrote something on. Yeah.
Ah, okay, yeah. Cause oh yeah, okay, fine. Perhaps then there should be, yeah, no worries. I think Joel, you know, silence means consent, and I think this consent should perhaps mean that we are doing well, or very poorly. But I see Christian has commented on the chat. I currently have an issue with the microphone, so I will not be able to speak. But you can, yeah, Christian, yeah, perhaps you can just type out in the chat your feedback on the session that we've had so far. Yeah, that's all we wanted to hear. Meanwhile, I think I'll hand it over back to you, Joel, as we can close with the guidance from here.
Thanks, Irene. That was wonderful. You've taken about 10 minutes, and I think we need to close. Before we do, I will extend invitation to, on behalf of the ISO Kenya chapter, to all of us who are in the house to, probably post our email addresses on the chat so that will be captured by our Honorable SG, Mr. Harvey is here with us. We are all invited to a breakfast meeting, which we shall hold as a follow-up session to this training for those in Nairobi, especially. For those coming or joining us from outside Nairobi, unfortunately, we are not able to pay transport costs. But if you're able to join us, we shall try to agree on a date early enough so that we can have this breakfast meeting from around 7 to 10:30 in the morning, so that we also get to meet. Our stakeholders. We want to speak to somebody from KENIC, that is the Kenya Information Network Center, and also Ministry of ICT, in terms of budding each other in preparation for IPv6 training. We want to have this mobilization so that as the web administrators, we are empowered, not only to manage our websites, the ones we are championing, but also to go beyond and secure this space. Now, for those outside the country, probably we'll just do some live streaming, so this can reach you again in a good way. So please, thank you already to those who have already posted their email addresses. I'm expecting at least 19 or 20, so that we have a good crowd. About 10 slots will be given to our members, most of who have sent apologies and have not been able to attend this meeting. Before then, I hope that Paul will also help us, and we would like to get at least 3 websites, at least 3. I have seen Winnie Mbide from Ministry of Agriculture is with us. I don't know whether she wants to greet the people. Winnie, you want to say hello?
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Winnie Mbide. From the, okay, I'm not, I'm from a department, or rather a parastatal under the Ministry of Agriculture. I'm not directly in agriculture, but I'm at Agriculture and Food Authority, which is the parastatal under the Ministry of Agriculture. And it's a merger of like 8 former parastatals. We have Sugar Board of Kenya, Tea Board of Kenya, Coffee Board of Kenya, among many. And I'm glad to be here, and this is an eye-opener. I was sent the report of our website, and I think there's a lot that needs to be done. So I'm headed to that direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Winnie. We all have report cards. Mr. Kariuki, Kelvin, you want to say a word? And the promise us 100% for the website, maybe you are managing.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Joel. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for organizing this event. There's a web server that I manage. In fact, I've just done the test, and it is at 49%. So clearly, there needs to be a lot to be done. So I hope to learn more through the recording because I joined quite late. And I also hope that I'll be able to attend the breakfast meeting again, so that I can be able to meet new people on this space and also learn from them. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Allow me to welcome our Honorable SG to close. But as he prepares to do that, Harry, I think, is still in the house. Kindly make sure your email is posted on our chat so that we are able to get this invite on time. It will most probably be next week. Or latest the upper week, but it will happen before the 10th of September because that's when we must present our report. Now, you have homework. Kindly liaise with Paul Kilongi or do something. Just help us to help you. And we need at least 4 websites reporting 100%. We already have the baseline. All of them are below 68%. Most of them at maybe 29 and so on. We'll also try to do something on our part so that we're able to bring it to 100%. So Honorable SG, I know people need to leave. Kindly help us close the meeting. Mr. Harry.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Joel, and the team. We must thank Paul for taking his time in the meeting, and also thanking everyone, especially Lumumba and the team that has been behind the chapter-thon. We look forward to the organizing the breakfast, as you said. On behalf of the ISOC team, we are happy, and I have to also give a special thanks to a few people who have been able to support us in this process, especially Athena, the former president, and also Kevin, who has been on the background. We're not so many people who have not known Kevin, they'll be able to know him more as we interact into this process, and the team that has been behind this process. Otherwise, we thank you so much. I don't have much to say. On behalf of Alphonse, also I think is here, representing the presidency within the ISOC. Thank you so much. And I believe that we are good to go. We have a lot of processes that are coming ahead. We'll be able to post you a schedule in the coming few weeks so that we can be able to plan well and have a clear schedule of where the ISOC Kenya chapter wants to go. Thank you. Back to Joel. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. That is our Secretary General. And thank you, members, for attending. I think a word of prayer would be in order. For the sake of time, maybe I'll say the closing prayer, and then members will leave at their own pleasure. Lord, we thank you for this day. Thank you for the participation. We pray that you continue to guide the ISO Kenya chapter, all our members, and also those who are aspiring to join us. We glorify your name and ask for your protection. We ask for good health, and you bless our families. We make these prayers trusting and believing in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you very much. Please get us new members. Get us new members. I think SD forgot to mention, we need, we also campaign, we need 50 new members in this short run. So by next week, we're already at 1,900. Our target is 1,960. So please talk to someone, let them register and join the Kenya chapter. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Joel.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.